My wife used to have aphantasia. Now her imagination is trying to kill us both.
I started receiving weird VHS tapes in the mail. I never asked for them, but they keep arriving day after day. In every package is a note telling me the exact time to share it with the world, to get it seen by as many people as possible. If I don't, they said, bad things will happen. The following presentation is the contents of one of those tapes. Please help me and watch until the end.
When my wife told me she had aphantasia, it took me a while to comprehend what that meant. It's a condition that causes the inability to visualize mental images. So when you say picture this, to someone with aphantasia they really aren't able to. But something happened to my wife. She got into a car accident and it caused significant brain trauma. Now she is starting to wake up. She is beginning to talk and make sense again. I can see the pictures now, she told me. Her words still slurred and hard to comprehend. What do you mean? I could never see them before. I only saw blackness when I closed my eyes. But now if you say to picture a red star, I see a red star. In front of my eyes suddenly I saw the flash of something. It wasn't in my mind though. It was right there in front of me. A red star. It burned with sudden heat and I screamed and recoiled backwards. What happened? She asked lazily, her eyes still closed. Nothing. I don't know. Probably nothing. I stayed beside her in the hospital and that night she began to dream. I stayed awake beside her, suddenly feeling afraid for reasons I couldn't understand. She told me that as a kid she had experienced night terrors, dreams that felt so real she was afraid to sleep. I can't understand how that's possible for someone with aphantasia, but she explained her dreams were more like feelings than images. I thought again of how she had pictured the star earlier, and I had seen it appear in front of my eyes like it had been real. Suddenly I heard movement from behind me. I turned around quickly and saw a dark form slide back into the shadows. It looked like a man wearing a fedora, dressed all in black, but his arms were made of snakes. My imagination? Or hers? Hello? Is someone there? The light switch was on the other side of the room, near where I had seen the thing before it disappeared back into the darkness. I looked up at the clock. It read 3:23 AM. The hospital room was quiet again for a second, and then I heard a soft chuckle from another corner of the room, this time a bit closer. I looked over to see the painted face of a clown, barely visible in the darkened corner, holding a sharp knife in his hand. My wife was terrified of clowns, had nightmares about them, she said. Who? The clown giggled as he pranced towards me, sticking the tip of the knife into his finger and making it bleed, dragging it down the side of his face, and then his tongue. The bloody streaming rivulets dripped to the floor from his face and hands as he laughed. The wallpaper began to tear in long strips from the wall to my right. Christine, wake up, I shouted at her. She was such a heavy sleeper, like a rock. Hands and her face suddenly drooped down from the ceiling above, extending outwards to us, reaching to grab us as the clown drew near with his knife. The dark form in the other corner revealed a waving set of tentacle arms and began to slither over towards us. My wife awoke to my screams, shrill and terrified. Nurses ran in and turned on the lights and looked around to see an empty room. You've got such a crazy imagination, my wife said to me, rolling her eyes, when I told her what had just happened. After the nurses had left, of course, I couldn't tell them the truth. I would be committed immediately. They had a psych ward just upstairs and some of them were already muttering that's where I belonged. I'm going back to sleep, Christine said, closing her eyes. I'm in the hallway outside her hospital room, typing this out. I'm afraid to go back inside. Sick to my stomach at the thought of what I might find. I really wish my wife still had aphantasia.